What is up, everybody? My name is Andrew, and welcome to Space Engineers 2, where we'll be doing the 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour challenge that we've done in Space Engineers 1, but this time in Space Engineers 2. I really don't know how this is going to go because I haven't played a lot of Space Engineers 2, which means the controls aren't very native to me, but we're gonna find out how it's gonna go by creating a simple transport ship. This is a mining ship, but we're gonna be creating a simple transport ship in 1 minute, 10 minutes, and 1 hour and seeing what we can come up with. I'm nervous. But anyway, all these are gonna be small grids, so, well, I mean, I guess there's no small grid, it's all just grid. All these are gonna be grid, so let's get the timer on the screen. All right, we've got everything set up and we are ready to go. So when I hit this timer, we will have 1 minute to create some sort of transport ship. So here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1, the button is hit. All right, let's start with a landing gear first of all. That's not the right way. Landing gear? We can't put a landing gear. We can't put a landing gear. Okay, we're in trouble. We'll start this way then. Boom. That's not the right block. Okay, I don't know how to play Space Engineers apparently. Boom, right there. Next we'll go with the cockpit. We'll go, I don't know. It's being weird. Okay, we'll put that right there. Why not? Then we'll go with a gyro because these are required. So we'll go gyro there, gyro there. Then we'll go with a couple thrusters. So we're gonna go with boom, one thruster right there, one thruster right there. We have 30 seconds left. We need to make sure that we put thrusters in every single direction. So we'll do thruster right there. You know what? I guess we're going with a couple thrusters in the back. Let's go one right here. Let's go one on the other side as well. Boom, and let's get a couple forward-facing thrusters also. So there's one in the forward, and there is one in the forward. Now, do they have seats in Space Engineers 2? Seat. They have little cockpits. I don't know that this is workable in this one. So you know what? We'll have another cockpit to make this a transport ship. So sideways. We have 1 second left. Boom. Okay, well. This is what happens, everybody. This is what happens when I've been playing Space Engineers 1 for so long that first of all, when I want to turn a block, my hand immediately goes to the insert and, you know, those keys. And then also, what is on here? So it seems like whenever it tries to put this in a weird rotation. It tries to like guess the rotation, which I'm not used to. This is in Space Engineers 1, there's a button you can press to turn that off. I don't know if you can do that in Space Engineers 2, so I might just have to get used to it. Currently, the way this ship goes is you can use it as a transport ship. It's got every direction except for up, which is a problem. Completely forgot about up. But whoever ends up sitting in this seat is not long for this world because we've got a couple thrusters aimed directly at that seat. So this is what happens when I try to build a ship in 1 minute in a game that I haven't played a lot of. But hey, we're getting there, right? All right, let's move on to our 10 minute. This is an insane 1 minute ship. Let's move on to our 10 minute ship. Hopefully we can actually get something workable. I can see what exists in Space Engineers. Like, I don't know if there are any seats in here, so I might have to just use cockpits. In Space Engineers 1, there's like offset seats and stuff that you can use for that. But in this one, it doesn't look like there's anything like that that I could use. There's the control seat, but that is it. It's a bed as well. I could maybe use beds. Okay, yeah, we definitely have a couple of options. Maybe I can make a transport ship that looks like it would seat people, but wouldn't actually seat people. But anyway, let's get started on our 10-minute one. So let's get our timer on the screen. There we go. That's 10 minutes on the clock, and I think we should be ready to go. So let's go ahead and start our recording in 3, 2, 1. There we go. It should be started, and let's get started with our 10-minute ship. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna start the same way because what I really should have done is I should have placed a couple landing gears here to start, but oh well, whatever. Well, we'll get this started, and we're gonna go with a double cockpit setup, I think. So let's go out this way a little bit. Let's get a nice little floor, and in fact, I might turn on symmetry mode as well while I'm here. So symmetry is T. So let's just press T right here. Here, let's do something like this. I'm gonna remove that. I don't know if that's a mistake, but I'll remove that so I can press T right here. Yep. Okay, symmetry mode is on. Perfect. So what I want to do with this ship is I would like to get a couple cockpits, and we're gonna start off with something like this, and then we're gonna go with the cockpits right here. So let's turn these into position. And do I want them to be? This is one block off. I think I'm fine having them one block off because then what I can do is throw a thruster in here. You'll notice, by the way, for the 1 minute ship, I didn't actually put any power on that thing. That's because there's no power in Space Engineers 2 quite yet. Everything is automatically powered in this game. So here's what I'm gonna do. One right there, and check this out. Look at this. Again, I don't really like the blocks auto-rotating, but I don't know that there's a lot that I can do about that. I'm gonna do something like this. And now you can't really, what's the problem? You can't really see your partner. Maybe I want to put these back one then. I want to be able to see your co-pilot from here. So let's do that. Actually, you know what? I don't have to have them offset on one block. What I can do in Space Engineers 2 is offset them by half a block right there. And then now, see, now we're cooking. Look at that. That's pretty good. Oh no, look what I've done. This is what happens when you give me the reins of a ship, I guess. I don't know. Let's go put one of these on here. Let's put thrusters in every direction real quick so we can move this. Anyhow, we have thrusters on this thing, so let's go ahead and move this back over here. There we go. We're now plopped on the ground. Perfect. We don't have to worry about that anymore. So what we want to do here is we want to make sure that we have some sort of place that people can sit if we're doing some transport things. Or maybe we want to add a little bit of cargo. Actually, you know what? I like cargo. So let's see if we have cargo containers. We do have cargo containers. So I'm going to go ahead and plop these down like this. Let's go ahead and use symmetry mode as well. So we can put one right there, one right there. It's a transport ship. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to transport people. It could also transport goods. Do we have connectors? We do indeed. Very good. Okay, we'll throw a connector on the end right here. Actually, I don't want to do that like that. I'd like to do it a different way. We do have, how far are we? We're at 6 minutes, okay, and we've spent a lot of this time dilly-dallying trying to figure out what we're doing, but let's put one right there, and then I think what I want to do is a connector somewhere. I would love to put a connector between these, which I can do in SE2 like this, but I don't know that that would be nice. You know what, we're going with a double sort of thing like this because that's the easiest way to do this, and we're going to go ahead and grab our, if we have a conveyor, yes we do. Yeah, we'll grab one of these, I guess. Aha, yes, this is the one I want, a smaller grid one. Okay, and let's go ahead and connect this right there. Perfect, there we go, we have that connection. These are all connected up to each other. So now all we need to do is worry about some sort of like thruster thing. So what I think I'm gonna do here is, what do I have here? Let's grab our half blocks here. And I wanna do something like this. I think having a thruster, where are our thrusters? Right here. Doing thrusters like this would be cool. I don't know, at this point it's just for the coolness factor that we're kind of working this way. So what I'll do here is let's turn these around like this. There we go, that's an interesting little thruster set, I think. So we need some left and right thrusters as well, which is gonna be a little tricky, but what I could do is I could put them, oh, you know what, here's what I'll do. Let's do, how much do we have? We only have 1 minute and 24 left, but we're doing pretty well here, I think. We're doing some weird stuff, but I think it's gonna work out fine. And then let's do this one right here. Bring this kind of down. How many gyros do we have? Probably not enough, so I probably want to add a couple more. Let's go with a light here. Do I have a spotlight? Yeah, I do. Perfect. Let's grab one of them. And I think I'm gonna throw this on the side right here. Boom, we're still in symmetry mode, which is good. And let's put one up here as well. Boom, okay. Now we have 36 seconds left, so let's, I do everything slowly in Space Engineers too, because I'm not 100% used to it. I'm gonna do something like that, and then right here I'm gonna do something like that as well. Okay, couple lights, couple normal light. No, let's do gyros. We need gyros for sure. That's a requirement. So let's do, actually, you know what? Gyro in front of both of these. We'll do it like this, and then we'll do that. I think that's gonna be okay. And 14 seconds, can we get a light in here? Let's get normal lights. Toss that right there. And I'm gonna stick some lights, maybe back here. Turn off symmetry mode there, because we only have one. Yeah, I think that's gonna be good, and then that's the end of the time. All right. Okay, so this is ends up being our ship that we were able to build. I feel like, yeah, we could have done more here. In fact, this is a little unfinished on the bottom there, but this is the ship we were able to build in 10 minutes right here. I don't think it's that bad. We have room for 2 people. We've got plenty of thrusters. How many forward-facing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forward-facing thrusters. For backward facing, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is a lot of backward facing thrusters, and then 4 for each side. Again, though, we don't have up and down thrusters. Oh my gosh. This is, I don't know what's going on. I've forgotten so many things. I honestly do not know what's going on here. I feel like this is maybe a glitch or something. But yeah, I could have easily, with just a couple seconds, probably some of you were screaming at the monitor, put downward facing thrusters, upward facing thrusters, any thrusters. So we have essentially a ship over here that has a seat that's going to get destroyed by this guy, as well as no upward facing thrusters. And then over here we have what ends up being a pretty cool ship, but no downward or upward facing thrusters. So big disaster waiting to happen for this guy. It's still flyable though, I would say. I mean, you could still fly it. Now for the 1 hour one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start out by putting a landing gear so I don't have to scramble to do that real quick. So landing gear, we're gonna toss in. New grid is J. All right, let's like bump it into the ground, I guess. Ugh. Is that not gonna, it's not gonna connect? All right, I guess we'll be doing a landing gear as well for this. All right, I managed to get a landing gear in there, so there we go, crisis averted for that. But we have 60 minutes to do this one, which means 1 full hour. Now, I don't think Space Engineers 2 has multiplayer, so I can't do like a second camera to show this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the thing where every 10 minutes I'll come back and say what I've done and what I'm planning to do. And in this one, I think we're gonna try to do some sort of interior. Or we'll try and do like a cool looking ship that is neat, I don't know. But anyway, let's get timer on the screen. All right, there we go. We have 1 hour on the clock, and I don't really know what I'm gonna plan to do for this one, but we'll find out. Start the timer in 3, 2, 1, bam! Timer is now started. We have 59 minutes and 59 seconds, so let's get going with this guy right here. So this one, I think we're gonna make a one with an interior, I think. I think that'll be pretty cool. Oops, this is... I keep holding control, which I think is causing me problems. So let's press T right here to get our symmetry mode active. I'm just gonna build a little platform first so that I can start from a nice little area that I have. And let's start with our control panel. So I think I'm gonna do the cockpit first actually, and I think that's gonna be a good way to do this. So we'll do 2 seats. I think I like that. So maybe a little bit apart like this. Maybe like that, yeah, I think I like that. But I'd like to do the interior here. So we're gonna have a door that goes into the cockpit, and I think we're gonna stick that back here. Honestly, this is gonna be a pretty large ship if I'm doing it like this, but we have an hour to play with, so might as well use that hour. All right, we're coming up on the first 10 minutes here, and you guys know how I always bite off more than I can chew, but here I am working on a bit of a cockpit, and I think I kind of like the look here. It's very something, and yeah, so we're gonna see where this takes us, I guess. Let's find out. All right, 40 minutes down, and I had to redo the thing. Let me cook though, let me cook. I'm still cooking. It's still in the oven. Don't worry about it. It's by minute 30, this is gonna turn into something that you're gonna be like, whoa, this man was cooking and I didn't realize it the whole time. So let me cook, give me some time. Let it sit in the oven for a second and we're gonna get there. Don't even worry about it. All right, 30 minutes have gone by, and this is what we have of the cockpit now. The cockpit's actually fully done. We're just trying to get a couple thrusters in, and then I'm gonna add maybe a room or 2 on the side, and then we'll get some cargo in here, and we should be good. So let's keep going. Half our time is done, and it was spent out the cockpit. That's kind of crazy, but we're still working, don't worry. All right, we're just closing it on 20 minutes, and it's starting to come together as a proper ship. We have a lot of things in here, including a giant gyro right there. It's not giant, but it's big, probably big enough to handle the ship. We've got a little room in here that probably needs a little bit of light, and I think we're getting into a good place. So let's keep going on this thing. All right, we're coming up on 10 minutes. I'm doing the final things for the ship, so I just need to get a couple more thrusters in, finish up the back, and then add some color and lights. I think that will be good after that. So let's keep going, finish this thing up. We're coming up on the last few minutes here, and I really need to do a couple of lighting passes. I think that's the biggest thing that I need to do. So let's come in here and let's throw in a bit of light. I think maybe I'll put one on each of the cargo containers on the top right there. 1, 2, throw one right here, throw one right here. Definitely want one right there, and I definitely want one inside. Well, I've got them in the bedroom already. Okay, so we just have like a little nook area right here. Maybe I'll throw a locker right there. Toss that in. Let's flip that. Maybe 2. 1, 2. There we go. That makes a little bit of sense. And I definitely could do a little bit more work trying to make this look a little bit nicer. Like, for instance, I could go in here, and this would make this look... Okay, I got rid of one of my beds by accident. This would make this look a little bit nicer if I went in here and tossed in something like that, and then did something like this instead, and then tossed the light on that. You know, that would look a little bit better than just having the light right there, but we don't really have enough time to do that. So right here, I think we're pretty good. What I'm gonna do is grab some of these blocks. I think I'm gonna paint after the time expires. This is what I've done in future, or in other series as well, is I just do the painting at the end, which I think is fine, because we don't do a crazy amount of painting, just a tiny bit. Other than that, though, I think we should be good. We've got our thrusters back here. I think I'm the least satisfied with the back of the ship. Let me see if I can do anything for this. Let's bring this out a little bit more like that. Let's bring this out a little bit more like that. And then let's kind of taper it down a little bit. So taper down right there, taper down right there. Of course, I didn't have symmetry on. Symmetry seems to turn itself off kind of weirdly in this game. This side right here could definitely be a little bit better. But all in all, I mean, that is a transport ship. I think that works pretty nicely. It's got everything we need: upward facing thrusters, downward facing thrusters, left, right, front, back, and that's gonna be our time in just a few seconds here. So there is our time. All right, So that's our 1 hour ship, and of course I've ended up making it very large, because in Space Engineers 1, when I've done these challenges, I've usually restricted myself to, you know, we're doing small grid ships instead of large grid, but in Space Engineers 2, there's really just grid. So if you want to do a ship like this, it ends up just being a ship. It's not large grid, it's not small grid. I mean, if it were large grid, you know, I could go with thrusters like this, right? These are like the larger thrusters. And I could go with, you know, this is what I've gone with for our gyroscopes, but I could also go with a gyroscope that's that big. So you can very clearly see that, like, it really, there's no, that's small, that's like medium, and that's large. They're all the same grid though, technically, just different sized blocks. So this is what we've gone with. Let me go through and paint all of these and we'll test them out, I guess. Oh, the paint tool is so cool. You can just paint everything like that, very simply. That's what we're doing right here, and then I'm just gonna grab this color right here, and I'm just gonna paint a couple of gray blocks in here as well. All right, so here we are. The ship's a little bit painted. It's very red. It's fine though. But this is our 1 hour ship. I'll show you guys what it has. It's got 3 landing gears. It's got a lot of bottom-facing thrusters kind of staggered around. Maybe a little bit too staggered, if I may say so. But it's got some backward-facing thrusters right here, some more backward-facing on each of the sides right there. And then it's got some more backward facing right there. It's got some upward facing thrusters right here with some side lights right there. Not very many side facing thrusters, only 2 on either side, but these are all double thrusters, of course. And then we've got a couple front facing thrusters as well with a very cool cockpit right here. I'll show you what the inside of the ship looks like here. So the entrance is over here in the back. I had actually planned on trying to make the entrance right here, but I couldn't figure out where I wanted to do that and how I wanted to do that. In hindsight, it would have looked good probably right here if I had just stuck the entrance, but I was trying to figure out how to put it like right there or something like that. But this is where we have the cargo, so you can hold a bunch of cargo over here if you want to. 5 full cargo containers full. And then moving down here, we've got a little table. We've got our gyroscope on the right. We've got a little nook on the right as well, where you have a little bit of a storage area. You can see out here through a nice window. And then all the way on this side over here, we have a nice little room with a couple different beds, as well as a storage container right there. Also very nice view. This one has not only this front window, but also the side window, which in hindsight, I probably could have put the side window right there as well, but it's okay. Over in the cockpit right here, we have this area where it's got 1 seat for the driver, and then it's got a couple of storage lockers as well to the left and right. Now, since this is a cargo vessel, it's very important to have good visibility. So we have nice visibility all around the side right there. And up top as well, we have some sunroofs as well, which are very nice. Speaking of sunroofs as well, we do have some sunroofs out in the back over here. So if you're back here doing some storage stuff, you have the sunroof you can look up at and you can see that stuff over there. So that ends up being our 1 hour ship. This is the only of the 3 ships that is entirely functional. Each of these other ships has a flaw. So this one right here does not have any upward facing thrusters, meaning it can't stop if you try and go up. So here, look, see? I'm not pressing anything, I can't stop. But of course it is still workable. You just have to turn around in case you want to do that. As far as like zippiness goes, let's see. Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, it's a very light ship, so it's not too surprising. Actually, there's no sound, which is very weird. It's not too surprising that it's a little zippy, and it does seem to work fine as long as you keep going in different directions and you keep turning. So those upward-facing thrusters aren't essentially needed because you can use the other thruster to compensate. But yeah, okay, that's not bad. Let's go ahead and bring this back down right here. And then we've got our 10-minute 10-minute transport ship right here. This one doesn't have upward or downward facing thrusters, so that's a bit of a problem. But again, it is also still workable. You just can't go up, you can't go down, but you can go left and right. So you'd have to kind of aim up like this, and then you'd have to start kind of zipping around like this. But this one is a pretty good transport. It does have a couple of smaller cargo containers, which is pretty good. As long as we keep kind of turning, the ship is, you know, somewhat workable, but it's a lot harder to work with without those upward and downward facing thrusters than even the smaller craft is. In first person, yeah, it's not bad. You can at least see your partner now that we made those couple changes. Let's go ahead and bring the ship back over here. Big flaws basically with the upward and downward facing thruster. And that is just me being dumb. I could have definitely made this ship. Actually, I think the look of this ship is really incredible. I love the style. And I think if it had those upward and downward facing thrusters, this would be the best one. But anyway, that brings us to the 1 hour ship right here. So let's head on inside. We're gonna go ahead and close these doors. Not that there's pressurization in this game yet, but you know. There we go. Doors are closed. Let's get inside this ship. And I'm not a fan of what we did with the back here because we were under a bit of a time constraint with the back. I think the front ends up looking really neat, but the back ends up looking just a little bit, I don't know, weird. Now, one thing I've always said is that I love Porsches. Porsches look cool, but I always thought the back was a little bit dumb on a Porsche for some reason. It just doesn't strike me the right way, and that's exactly how this ship is looking. The front of it just looks incredible, but then you go to the back and you're just like, oh man, there's nothing really there. It's just kind of like, don't take this out of context, by the way, please, guys. But anyway, yeah, this ship is, I think it's the jack of all trades. It's got everything you need. It might be even more zippy than the small ship because it's got that large gyro as well as thrusters in every direction, making it a very nice ship. Actually, no, yeah, I think the 1 hour ship is definitely the best of the three. It's got pretty much everything you need. In the future, if we do videos like this again in Space Engineers 2, I think I will probably be a little bit better at this. I just don't play Space Engineers 2 a lot, or I haven't, so I'm really not good at the building in this game, but I think with a little bit of experience, we'll get there. And maybe next time we can do some mining ships, even though I'm not sure that mining is implemented yet, but if it is, we'll do some mining ships, and then maybe fighters, and then maybe, I don't know, stations or something. But anyways, that's gonna be the end of this one. 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour in there, color-coded. That's why I colored it red, by the way. I'm not a huge fan of the red, but it just goes with the 60 minutes right there. But anyways, yeah, that's gonna be the end of this little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you enjoyed the 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour challenge in Space Engineers 2 and want to see more. If you do, please drop a like, put your comments and your suggestions for what you want to see in future challenges like this in the comment section below. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to become a YouTube member or Patreon, there are links below in the description where you can get your name in the end credits. But anyways, you can get your name in the end credits here, early access to videos, and also you can get a shout out at the end of the video for some of the tiers. So people we're going to shout out in this video are WTC 2014, Tyler Hedstrom, and Stellaris Ignis. Thank you very much for your support, and thanks to everyone who's watching this for your support as well. And I will see you all in the next video.